What's up, my people out there? I'm your host, Miguel Garcia. Welcome to our show, Hidden Appleseeds. Today, we have some dope individuals that many of us folks know in New York City, but you may not, but you will know after this.
New York City, the Big Apple, also known as the Concrete Jungle. When most people think of New York City, tall buildings, bright lights, and busy streets come to mind. Of course, you can see the obvious richness in those elements, but there's another side of the Big Apple, the side that many consider to be the jungle. The less commercially celebrated parts of New York City, where the true seeds of the Big Apple are hidden. These seeds that I'm describing are the people. Hello, my name is Miguel Garcia, a New York City native. My goal is to explore, find, and celebrate these hidden seeds inside the Big Apple's core. Take this journey with me.
Okay. I'd like to start off by saying this. New York City, of course, is worldly renowned as the city that never sleeps. Okay, and the reason being is because of the nightlife. Today, I have the original founders of the Block Association, because they're going to educate us a little more on this whole thing. Gentlemen, I want you to individually introduce yourselves. All right, if you could just give the people your name and let them know where you're from.
My name is Corley originally from the group Haitiano, also transitioned to the group the Block Association.
My name is Noel, originally from Ramsey Racing, and then became a founder of the Block Association.
Gentlemen, welcome to Hidden Appleseeds, man. I'm like really so happy to have you guys.
We're honored that you have us.
Like, this is so dope, man. And you know what? We're gonna let the people find out why you're so dope. Now, did it start off with you two gentlemen here?
Funny enough, yeah. This is like way back when he and I had met briefly, because he had just moved back from Atlanta, and we heard about each other, but I, of course, was originally with Ramsey Racing, and he was doing a Haitiano thing, and we were like, yo, let's connect on something, and I remember us speaking on the phone. We had mutual ideas. We never thought it was become a, close friendship, but we were like, yo, we had big ideas, and that's what still keeps us thriving. So I'll let him take over the story.
So the main thing was there was a part one of Ramsey Racing. So I was with a group, of course, Haitiana, and then it was Ramsey Racing with a gentleman by the name of Kunti Theodore, who owns the Brooklyn Circus. So I was introduced to him by an associate, and we met in 1998. So we met, did one event together, and then we had great chemistry. We did 20 events in a row together. So this is basically from 1998 through 2000. Then I moved to Atlanta, and I stayed in Atlanta from 2000 to 2004. And the next lane, or the next wave of Ramsey Racing is where he jumped on in. So when I came back from Atlanta, that's where we met.
Right. Okay, though, because you guys formed a pretty strong Voltron. I'm going to say that now. Was the nightlife a thing of, was it like a passing by type of thing, or was that the focus, or did you guys want to start there so you end up doing something else after that? Like, how?
What's funny is, like, when, I did my stint with Ramsey Racing, I came on as an independent, and I was basically on the team as the idea guy. They had the crowd, and I was basically mixing my crowd with theirs. Where they did one-offs, as individual teams, they kind of pulled me in as a member of the team. We spoke percentages and all that stuff. And from the ideas that, I flourished, we grew from there. And then, when Ouija decided that he wanted to retire, me personally and, another member LA decided like we wanted to keep it going because we were on to something. And then that's when I got the call from him, and then we just moved in a different direction. And we had zero idea of a game plan of what we were gonna do.
Yeah, our main thing, of course, was just really the first thing when you come into the nightlife game as a promoter, you're just trying to brand yourself. You're trying to brand yourself, you're trying to expand your clientele, and you just know that you have a passion for producing events. So that's the number one thing that we came to. It wasn't really a situation where we come in and say, hey, we want to make money, we want to do this. Now, we want to be able to really brand ourselves. And hopefully, by us continuing to produce events, other things will open up. So, you know, of course, we had it on our mind. We wanted to do concerts. You know, we want to do festivals. We want to do stuff with the music industry. So all of these things basically we knew by networking and getting into those avenues. So that was really our main push to get into those, you know, avenues.
Now, coming into the whole social scene, did you guys have any inspirations?
My biggest inspiration probably was Black Diamonds, Derek Corley, and of course AJ. That's now on, you know, yeah, Entertainment Tonight. They were doing big stuff, but see, where I was at a disadvantage was I had to kind of build my crowd from the ground up, where else everyone else kind of started in a college, you know, setting where they were doing parties at college and built up. But I had came from pretty much the nightlife scene, the music scene, right? So it was a fresh new start for me. I had zero intention getting into the nightlife, but once I figured, oh, this is something I can make money, it's a niche, you know, it was another way for me to express myself. I was like, I'm all in, I'm all in.
So, like, you mentioned something in the effect of music scene.
Right.
What did you do in music exactly?
So with music, from high school on, me and a good friend of mine, which is Kwame, we met in high school and we clicked instantly. And I kind of like was one of the cool kids in high school, so I kind of introduced, because he was transferred into art and design high school. So I kind of gave him his introduction around, you know, make sure nobody messed with him, met the new kid in the school. And so every day after school, we used to go make demo. And so we had the good fortune of literally living right around the corner from Herbie Lovebug, and at the time, he was hot with Salt and Pepper, Dana Dane, Kid and Play. So we got our record deal relatively quick because we already was packaged. We already had everything, so it was no work really done. And it took off from there, and so as it was waning down, I was like, yo, I need a new hit. It's like being a drug addict.
Right.
I need a new hit. And so that's when the nightlife thing came in. You know, I did a couple of like solo independent joints, and a gentleman by the name of Joe Styles introduced me to Patty Laurant.
Okay.
We hit it off, we did big joints together. Then from Patty Laurant, I got recruited into Ramsey Racing, and then from Ramsey Racing, we're here.
You know, he's being like real humble and modest. So I'll just tell you a scenario. So when I came back from Atlanta, once again, coming back from Atlanta, the nightlife scene is, you know, totally different, and now I have to get myself adjusted back to the scene. So I keep hearing about this party called White Shirt Blue Jeans. Keep hearing about, like, everywhere I go to, yo, we're going to White Shirt Blue Jeans, we're going to White Shirt Blue Jeans. So I'm like, all right, cool, who's doing White Shirt Blue Jeans? So I finally get a flyer, and I was like, it says Ramsey Racing on it. I was like, oh, okay, these are my people. So this should be an easy situation. So, you know, I get in contact with LaShawn and Luigi, and I was like, yo, you know, I want to come through. So you're like, yo, whatever you want. How many people you want to come through? I was like, I'll come like 3 people. No problem, we got you. So once again, I have no idea what I'm walking into, right? This is my people's parties and stuff. So I go to American Park Cafe, which was, you know, over there by the old Battery Park area, and I see about 2,000 people in white shirt.
I think you're being humble now. I'm going to say 3,000.
Yeah, I'm just saying, maybe every time when I'm walking up, I see 2,000 people, right? So I'm walking, I'm like, whoa, what is this? This is crazy. So the 2 guys I'm with, they're like, yo, listen, how can you gotta wait on this line? And I was just like, we might have to. So, you know, I'm walking up close to stuff like that, and, you know, Luigi sees me, gives me the royal treatment, you know, walks me or whatever. So, you know, later on, you know, as I'm getting back into nightlife, they tell me, you know, this is the guy that created this idea. It's like, oh, that's awesome. And, you know, just takes us from there. So me and him started getting familiar with each other, and, you know, it's been basically what, 18 years later?
Yeah.
I would say, you know, that's a pretty long run. So is it fair to say that Al is Mr. Creative and Carlito is Mr. Business.
Definitely, yeah, that's the 1-2 punch. Like, you know, I can't do what he does, he can't do what I do. So, you know, we don't step on each other's toes. You know, we'll have, you know, we'll bump heads, you know, from time to time, and that's, you need that also, you know, to challenge each other. But when we're bumping heads, it's really just to make sure that it's the best for the event, to get the best outcome and also to put out the best product.
Right.
But it's always in a situation, it's great direction.
Yeah, quick side note to what he was saying about the white shirt, blue jeans was, originally when I came up with the concept, you know, nightlife was really based upon getting dressed up. And so venues were forcing people out. If your crowd isn't dressed up, you know, it's a no-go. So finally, when I got a chance to do the concept with a venue that was agreeing with the dress code, it took off. And, you know, I have to give a shout out to Patty Laurent, because when I introduced her to the idea,
Salute to Patty.
she did not get it. She was like, I don't see it. But she trusted in the fact that, you know what, yo, you sound passionate about this, so we're gonna do it. My only request was Goldfinger at the time. He was like my favorite DJ because I've seen him in different venues, and I was like, yo, I got him. By coincidence, she managed him at the same time. So that was the kickoff to it, and then it became historic from there, to the point where I've seen other states do it, you know what I mean? And because we don't document our nightlife history, nobody probably has any idea attachment
I
of
was
me
telling
to
that
it.
he should have patented it or something like that, because literally every other state has used that thing.
Has
used
They
that
have
same
no,
thing.
we don't get no respect.
Yeah, no
Say that
residual,
to
no
kids.
respect, nothing.
You know, which is why I feel like it's important for you guys to get your respect now.
Right.
Like, you know, like this has to happen. I want to say this, like,
But thanks to you, there's a platform
you know,
now.
listen, you know, we're talking about it.
Right.
You know, I want to say that the way you guys move, like, you have like the structure. You're like corporate rock star. Like, when it comes to this whole social scene. And if we had a checklist, like, you know, of everything that makes promoters great, you guys check all the boxes as far as like, okay, breaking out the masses, signature events. But I think that what makes you guys unique is the quality of people that attend your events.
It's called curation.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
literally, you know, of course we support everybody's parties, but, you know, we kind of look at events like we're casting for a movie. Who do we want to see on set?
Like
We want to
Ocean's
see-
11.
Yeah, exactly. The particular women, the type of dudes, the theme of it, the venue, everything plays a part in it. So that's one of the things we get excited about.
So
Like,
let me just interject for one second here, all right? Because these guys are still heavy in the game. If you get out to New York, you got to check for them. And without letting out all of the 11 herbs and spices,
Right.
okay?
right.
What is, if you can let out an ingredient to get these types of quality folks to come out?
So, you know, we're in a different age now. Back in the days, you know, we had to go out and physically meet somebody. Now, because of all these social apps, you can just swipe and DM or meet somebody. But back then, you actually had to go to the club, meet somebody, introduce yourself, maybe buy a drink. Remember, you had to go to the bar. If you exchange your number with a person, you had to go by, get a pen, and write the number on the napkin. So you had to really kind of like represent yourself right at that moment where the person's like, all right, cool. It's like an interview.
Right.
So automatically you're doing that, you're recruiting certain type of people. Like, all right, this person is like-minded like myself. Or you're going to events where you know there's going to be like-minded, you know, people. So it's just really just based on recruitment.
Because we're basically playing the salesperson and the product. Because, you know, you could sell somebody on something, but the actual product has to be what it is, or live up to the hype. Because that's basically what you're
I
selling.
need the folks to
for.
believe in you, because let me tell you, I mean, I'm going to respectfully say this, like, you know, there's a lot of clones out there that would follow suit and copy this same thing, but they can't quite pull it off like that.
I think word of mouth is the absolute best marketing thing in any form, because there'll be people, or, you know, girlfriends, dudes, be like, oh, I heard of you guys, or I've seen your emails that never met us a day in our lives, but, you know, because we have consistency,
Yes.
that's what people believe in. That you have to stay consistent and then stay true to your brand. People don't look at it as a brand when they get into nightlife, because they just basically either in it for the money, or people do it for the fame. Like, yo, the party is for the people, but I'm in VIP, you know, with my bottles
lack of integrity.
Exactly.
Or, you know, a lot of things, the main thing a lot of promoters do that kind of like mess their situation, they'll do collaborations with people that don't match their crowd.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So you could walk into a party and it's just like the dynamics is just crazy. Like, you know, you got one area over here, it's like a bunch of 60-year-olds, then you got another area, a bunch of, you know, hoods, then you got backpackers, then you got some yuppies here, and it's like, yo, I'm confused.
Right, where do I fit in?
Yeah, where do I fit in? So, because of the collaborations, you know, some people are just like, all right, let me just chill out on this.
Yeah,
I'll
right.
pass on this one because it doesn't make sense with my product or my direction.
Right.
And I'll tell you, like, if I may, I want to paint this picture, like, when you're attending one of their events, like, you would see the model looking chick one side of the room, then you would see the CEO, you know, of a Fortune 500 company, and then you see Al Harrington at the bar, you know what I'm saying, with the bottle rose.
Yeah.
And this is what is to be expected when you're attending a Black Association event, man.
Yeah, you know, so, you know, about our crowd, you know, our main thing was like trying to get like a great gumbo mix. So, you know, the gumbo mix is really just like, you know, getting the upskill, of course, getting the career minded, getting the entrepreneurs, getting even the backpackers. And, you know, we would have a little hood in there also. You know, the hood want to come out also, but they want to go into an environment where they know they're going to feel safe and, you know, nobody's going to cause any problems and stuff like that. But we had that great gumbo mix. So people would come and, you know, they would put their best. They would definitely dress fly. Like, it got to the point where people were like, yo, listen, I'm coming to the joint, I gotta come correct. And, you know, we had this young designer at that time, her name is Noel. She's like one of the top Black designers currently right now. And I remember her coming to the event. We had it at DL. It was just one of our big events. And, you know, she just amazed that they're having mass people just dressed this dope, dressed this fly. And, you know, I remember her calling me and saying, hey, listen, you know, let's do something together. I want to be able to implement, you know, my fashion into one of your events because it seems like it's natural that everybody likes to dress fly. And, you know, that was just years ago, and that was just when she's starting out. So it was just one of those moments that I always remember, like, all right, we knew we had something that somebody like her who into fashion saw it and said, yeah, I want to collaborate this.
And it's so funny because, you know, initially when you first start getting into nightlife, it's about volume. Like during, like, you know, the 3,000 white shirt blue jeans, it's too massive for you to really like nitpick because you're bringing out masses. It's about money and filling up the spot. But as we got older and our crowd gets older, you want to kind of, you know, for us to have longevity, you got to start curating the type of crowd that, you know, you're bringing out, because when you look around the room, not only do you want to keep your reputation up like, yo, to bring people out, we've never had any incidences in any of our parties, nothing. But you do want to feel like you're growing with your crowd too, and like, yo, these are people that I'd actually converse with or hang out with outside of the nightlife stuff. So that's how I approach, you know, the people that we bring out. Now, if you want to know the secret sauce, I could tell you the secret sauce.
Off camera?
No, I can tell it on camera too. I can tell it on camera. The secret sauce to having a great nightlife or any event is you have to focus on the women. Women run brunches, women run nightlife. Because women critique other women, they want to be or feel in a room where they have equals in the same room. And they want to also feel like, hey, I spent a lot of money on my outfit. I want to see dudes that compliment. I may not be looking for a number or something, but I want to be able to be in a room where the guys I'm looking at put effort into it. You understand? And so for us, we kind of curtail our thing around our female families, because now they're the ones that's booking parties and doing Bible service more than dudes are sometimes.
I would say this, and then that segues into a collaboration that I want to talk about. One time I collaborated with you guys. It was a fortunate thing, man. And I appreciate that you guys got on board and did your thing with that. This was at the World Bar. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah, we literally got a flyer for that the other day.
Now, I had a female friend, right, who was usually like one of the flyest females at all the events that I had.
Right.
I was telling her, hey, listen, you know what? There's going to be some competition.
I know the end of the story. You
and
usually
this one here.
He's talking about like how sometimes an attractive female comes to a party and she thinks she's hot. Then she looks around the woman and goes,
It's a lot of competition.
oh, okay, I see what's happening.
I was saying this, she came correct, but when she stepped her foot in that party there, she felt like she did not bring her A game.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I mean. It's like, it's levels to this whole thing, man.
People get comfortable.
And what he's saying also, so now when you have a whole room full of attractive women, that only calls the guys to come now.
Exactly.
So now it's like, okay, cool, the guys seen this, it's like, so they feel now they have to step their game up also. And then the rest is history.
Yeah, they start wanting to spend money, you understand? Because they're in a comfortable atmosphere. You get the, this is pre-Instagram and social media. They start making the phone calls, yo, dude, there's mad chicks here, you need to come down. And they start spending money, and then you get that following. Then, like I said, it's all word of mouth. People start hearing like, oh, yo, before we could not get one single single dude out. It was tough.
When we were transitioning into the Block Association, after we were doing the ACN and Rams Racing thing, and we formed the Block Association. Our first 2 years were pretty no income.
Yeah.
No income.
That's a sacrifice.
Right, it was a sacrifice. But what we were known for doing these beautiful, great events. But the reason why they were just beautiful is that they were only just women attending the events.
And the venue.
And we would, do it at exclusive venues like Beauty and Access,
Duo,
all these real great restaurants. And we would produce the event, and say if there was 200 people, it would probably be 150 women and 50 guys.
Right.
So there wasn't a lot of spending at all.
Y'all know that's a stunt right there, right?
It's terrible. It was terrible.
Stunt right there.
It was actually terrible.
So that's the price you pay for keeping it beautiful.
Right, and to keep it exclusive
Right,
also, right? So just keeping a nice quality room. But there was times where we were like, no, this is actually bad, because women want to get complimented. Women want to, dance with, the guys. Women want to hear, hey, you look very nice, instead of hearing it from 150 other women.
Right.
So if there's no guys there, there's definitely a revenue for us is going to be minimum. So it took us about 2 years where the transition, where the guys started giving. So thank God for like Facebook, social media. We were investing in photographers where people could see, who's attending these events. And then we started telling the women, like, hey, listen, if you're gonna come, don't just come with 5 more other women. Why don't you tell a guy, tell your cousins, or tell your brother.
It's crazy when you have to tell a female to bring it through.
Yeah, it got to that point. We were like, yo, listen, all these great quality women in here, we need some guys. We need you to start telling guys. And
I think it was a big petri dish for us, of like a learning process, because, our last biggest collaborations between he and I we were doing Sunday nights at LQ. And we had zero history with dealing with the music industry. We just sat down and did the research, and we were calling up booking agents and, hey, who has an artist that has a album coming out? And so that became consistent, but that crowd was aggressive, but they were spending, but they weren't hood, but it still had that element to it because we were dealing with music industry.
And that just comes along with
it.
Right.
Comes along. So that was something that we learned also, and it's a lot harder to maintain a party like that, especially when it's celebrity driven.
Right.
So when it's celebrity driven, it's a kind of like a whole different monster. So you gotta learn how to how do I maintain this? Like, how do I keep myself sane through it?
But the beauty of it all, we were introducing 9-to-5ers to that red carpet experience, because these are artists that you would never rub elbows, and it wasn't like VIP was all over there. Celebrities would literally be in the mix with the 9-to-5ers, so that was an experience to them. to where, you know, it was at one point where we would show up to the club and there'd be a line outside the door before the doors even open. And we were like, yo,
We're in trouble.
it's gonna be a good night. It's gonna be a good night. And then we coupled that with marketing. You know, knowing that we had the celebrities coming into town, we would book them on the radio station with the DJ that was DJing for the night. So
I just want your perspective on this whole thing. Now, when it comes down to, you know, the whole club scene and our music is being played everywhere, but then there's certain venues that don't allow us in, but all the elements that we pretty much created
right.
are happening in these venues. You know, how do you feel about that? What's your take on that?
Well, for me, and you know, we have the good fortune of having a good crowd to present. You know, a lot of promoters, they do the switch and bait thing where they tell owners, yo, yeah, my crowd is this, I have a mixed crowd and stuff, line off the bat just to get in the building, and then turn around and have the most hood crowd and fights and stuff. And so, you know, that's why, you know, we gotta communicate with each other because, you know, your actions may fuck up money for us because people are, you know, reluctant to do, you know, events with somebody that actually has a good crowd. But, you know, not only from owners do you get that prejudicial approach, but your own people would do that to you. Like, security will treat black people when they show up to a club very different than they do, yo, it's time to go, yo, you gotta get out, yo, rushing people out. With a white crowd, it's not the same, you know, and people don't really speak about how, yo, there's those racial lines that people cross when doing nightlife because they own everything. You understand?
The biggest thing that used to happen back in the days is that, you know, to get in certain venues, you would have to go through a white booking agent.
Yep.
You would have to have a Caucasian promoter on your team or be the face of your team.
You have to have some event happening before to hope that the person can come scout your event, which is understandable. These are $1 million investment clubs, so they would send somebody to kind of see what your crowd looks like to give you the okay. But then the flip side, they would give you some astronomical bar guarantee or whatever, you know what I mean, and stick to it to the dollar, you know?
But if it's a Caucasian promoter, that same, say you're looking for the same date, I'm asking for the same date, the Caucasian promoter might just get a crazy great deal. That same situation, we walk in, they're trying to jerk us.
So it's pretty much like that Caucasian promoter like pretty much walks in with an 850 credit score.
Yeah, right.
And we're starting like at 650.
And then that Caucasian promoter, he'll see your crowd and say, oh, listen, these guys are bringing in volume. Let me make a deal with them and say, hey, listen, I'll get you the venue, just come here $1,000 or I'm gonna get a percentage at the bar. And that was going on for a long time.
Yeah, we won't name names, but there was a promoter, you know, Caucasian promoter that literally was piggybacking off of black promoters, had zero crowd, but because he was getting the venues, just because people were using his face, you know, that's the opposite of like, you know, the minstrel show or a white artist, you know, doing a black cover song, you know what I mean? So it was happening big time.
And it's unfortunate that, you know, that we always have to find a way to crack through the matrix.
Right.
You know, but at the same time, I get what you're saying, like, you know, we have a responsibility as well.
Right.
Like, and that segues to my next question, like, do you feel we should formulate some type of union?
For sure, not everybody will respect it though, because people have their own motivations of what they do to get into promotion. Some people, it's all about the money. It's not about integrity. It's like, yo, I don't care what my crowd looks. I don't like how they come. I'm just trying to make money out of these venues. They're not looking, you know, 10 years down the line.
I believe in a union, but I believe in a union that, you know, everybody in nightlife should own their own. So I think, you know, New York City, we've been feeding, you know, all these venues, restaurants, we've been feeding them for decades. So now it's just to the point like we have to form a union just to protect ourselves, you know, as much as possible. But me forming a union to kind of like go against other venues and stuff like that when we're feeding them, I don't believe in that anymore.
Right. And you know, because something similar tried to happen even when it's like black-owned clubs or even when like after NightLife died, the next surge was it was a war going between day parties or you going to the strip clubs. And that's the only place that celebrities, literally, dudes was doing hosted parties in strip clubs in New York. And they started cracking down on that. And what replaced the clubs was the condos.
So now would you say that New York City is finally sleeping, or sleeping with one eye open?
Sleeping with one eye. Like I said, it's gonna take somebody very daring to say, hey, I'm gonna, and it won't be a full nightclub. It'll probably be like a mega event space or something where it has multiple purposes. But a nightclub?
It still has to be a release of some sort.
Of course, because people are gonna start doing like prohibition, just
People are
pop
crazy
up.
out there.
Listen,
Yeah, pop-up parties.
Thank God New York City has 8 pro teams. If New York City had 8 pro teams, we'd be in trouble.
We'd be in trouble.
Right.
So that's what saves us. You know, we have venues that could do great concerts. I see those things are going to be the #1 thing as an entertainment, as a release. But as a nightclub, of being in a club 4 a.m. in the morning, spending $1,000 on the tables and getting drunk, people. I never heard nobody through this whole COVID say, "Yo, man, I miss."
No, but you gotta understand the B side of it is like companies that have young talent, like Google is here and a couple of Amazon is moving here. Companies that have young talent, they still wanna go out. So they're looking at cities almost like basketball players, like, okay, if I get drafted to this company or, you know, move to this city, what really is there for me to do when I'm still young? There's no clubs, the restaurants are closing. Is New York really a viable for me to go to? So we lose talent on another end that people don't think because of nightlife. People don't understand that, like, that release is very, very important, and that's why nightlife has thrived so much. We just lost the wave, just like we lost the wave with hip hop. You know, some other cities then took it and ran with it. New York ever be king again? Nah.
You know, that was actually another one of my goals, like to have you guys here, because I know, you know, as being a city, being from here, we took a major hit. You know, so
Major.
people look to these other states, you know,
Atlanta.
to get their party on, and
Right.
it's no longer really us, but, you know, but you guys are still representing us here.
Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah.
I think even in our group of, you know, fellow promoters and stuff, there's probably only a few left. And if they're not doing, you know, any events and stuff like that, they're into restaurant ownership, they're doing something else totally different. But I think they're probably in a situation like us, where it's like, well, we're just gonna wait for everything to just clear the smoke. So, you know, like you said before, we had something huge planned, and literally we're about to, you know, sign a contract. The COVID hits.
Yeah.
So that might have happened to a lot of other promoters. So everybody just kind of like sit, waiting this out next year and being patient.
Right.
Now, do you think, like, as far as being a promoter, is this a single man's game? If you're a male in this business?
If you're young, I mean, it depends on your motive of what you're looking to get out of it. Like,
So motive has everything.
huh?
So motive plays a.
Yeah, motive plays a big deal out of it because, like I said, some people are about, in promotion, it's about me. It's my event, yo, I want my name on the flyers and this and that. So with the Block Association, we killed all that because imagine, yo, hosted by Carlito, LA, you know, I'm a minimalist at heart. So we're like, yo, why don't we just, yo, the Block Association, we all live within blocks of each other. Let's just form one unit. People know the brand. I'm a marketing person. Let's form a brand, follow that brand. People will know the quality over the name. And at the end of the day, they still know us. You know what I mean? If they want to reach out to us, that's it. But it's a single guy, if he's doing nightlife. But it's still on you.
Yeah, it's really on you. It's like if you're a single guy, single promoter, the nightlife probably be a better structure for you. You know, because you can maneuver that, and you're constantly doing it weekly.
Right.
So,
But you have to be with a mate that understands that realize this is the values of what you can get. But it's still, again, lies on you of what you decide to do.
But you know, when you have a lady doing this nightlife, honestly, if she supports you and if she met you, you know, doing the nightlife, you just gotta make sure the money's coming in consistently. The
Right.
money's coming in consistently, and she sees that, hey, there's a plan or there's a future of doing it, she's gonna support you. If she
Mhm.
doesn't, then it's not.
Yeah, it's gonna be friction.
Yeah, it's gonna be friction regardless. So that's all it is.
Right.
And of course, you know, you guys set a great foundation. You know, like what would you say, like for the up and comers who may be interested in getting into this here?
Be original.
Right.
One thing I hate about a lot of the new promoters, they don't do anything original. There's no creativity. There's nothing authentic.
There's a lot of me stuff going on too. They're promoting themselves more than the actual party. You know, doing photo shoots of themselves, and it's like, yo, promote the party. Like at the end of the day, you know, people want to come for the experience, not you. You know what I mean?
You know, we've done parties. I've seen people who have about 70,000 followers, right? And they'll do a birthday party, and it'll be like five people there. And it's because they really don't have any connection with those 70,000 people. There's really no, you know, one-on-one at all. They don't have no relationship with them.
Right.
Promoters get caught up in that social media thing, like, yo, I gotta have the followers, but do they really know you? Do they have a connection or bond with you?
Yeah.
And that was one thing that, you know, I could say for Block Social, we created bonds with people. Like people have our numbers, they rock with us, they know people that we rock.
We get invited to
vouchers.
weddings. We get invited to, you know, it helps because, you know, we've brokered deals with stuff that has zero to do with nightlife, just off of like our standing in our quality of what we put out. Like, you know, we did a great run with, what was the liquor company that we were doing, and they did like, you know, a competition between beat makers, and they had us host. We were bringing out more people to their event than their actual marketing team. And so we was, you know, it was a proud moment for us because, again, it was giving us something to introduce our crowd to. You know, and the other side of it, you know, I want the Block Association to be known for doing things that we make, you know, money off of. Like, you know, 2 years ago, we took a group of foster kids to see Black Panther multiple times just because that was something we wanted to do. As far as, you know, community orientated. You know, we've done movie dates where we got grown adults to take off of work called Ferris Bueller. We would do a movie during the daytime, take people to the museum. You know, so it wasn't just about nightlife or day party, but we were building a bond.
And that's just to stand out also, so if people see like, hey, we're multidimensional, they're not just doing one thing.
Yep.
I think that a lot of new promoters, they'll just literally copy what somebody else is
Copy
doing.
and paste.
Yeah, just copy and paste. Like, no, just get something original, be unique, you know, so you can stand out. And I tell everybody, like, hey, just get your niche and rock your niche, blow it up, invest in your niche, and you're gonna stand out. You can't lose.
And start small. You don't gotta have 400, 500 people the first time out.
Start with 50, then go to 75, go to 100, then 100 turn into
You will
200.
gradually get there.
Yeah. And you actually appreciate it more because you started from ground zero. And
Don't take it personal. Like, you know, in the beginning, our close friends would come support. After a while, you know, those close friends start falling off because they got priorities, and then you get a whole new crowd. Don't think your best friend has got to come to each and every part.
yeah,
That doesn't work.
yeah. We always tell people that it's like, listen, this is a city of 8 million people.
Right.
You're not the only event going on.
Right, yeah.
Like,
Right.
in New York City, people have a million
Too many options. Too many sometimes.
So don't, like I said, don't take a person that this person didn't come to you. The person might have had a baby shower. The Knicks game might have been on. You know,
Right.
Tennis, you know, World Cup or
Right.
something. That might be on the same day. Don't take it personal. Just keep on proactively, you know, promoting your brand and
Right.
it'll take you to the high places.
I would say, I think that we accomplished our goal, you know.
We got more to talk about. We're gonna do a part two.
Yeah, we got a whole lot to talk about, you know, but as far as like, you know, like introducing you to the folks that may not know you, you know, check on that one there. We still got some dope people in New York City doing quality events. That's another check right there. And the last check is, like, you know, I want to give you guys a round of applause. You know, celebrate you guys. Really appreciate you guys. I mean, I can let the audience know, you know, how can they find you?
Well, I live in Jersey now, so it's hard to find. But I have an Instagram, The M Report. You can find me at The M Report, and us collectively at The Block Association.
And if you know, don't know our history, you could go to Facebook, the Block Association. You see all our events from
For 11 years, we're
11
11
years. You'll probably glance around about 50,000 photos, and you can just see exactly what, you know, my friend here is talking about, our history. So, you know, come on.
And one of his favorite events has its own Instagram page, the Fashion 500 as well, so you can check out the crowd for that as well.
But definitely look out for us next summer. We have something huge that we're definitely producing.
Can't let it out the bag right now?
Nah.
Because we're afraid of the young guys biting it.
All right, cool.
Copying and pasting.
Behind the camera?
Yeah,
for sure,
for sure. They're on the BTS.
Okay, my good folks out there, thank you for joining us on another episode of Hidden Apple Seeds. Peace out, salute. Take care.
Thank you for having us, man. Appreciate it. My name is Alonzo Dale of the Block Association. Shout out to Hidden Apple Seeds.
Shout out to Hidden Apple Seeds. Thank you for having me.